My name is Laura Borneman, and I teach painting and drawing at Bakersfield College. And my artwork is, I do oil paintings and drawings, usually combining representation and abstraction. I was really excited about it. I haven't really, since I moved out here 3 years ago, and I haven't really, I've done some group shows and the faculty shows, but I haven't shown in Bakersfield other than the faculty shows, so I'm really excited to be a part of it. It's different than being in a gallery, just mainly in the sense that there's usually a lot more history behind the museums, and the space is usually much bigger, and so it's a whole different venue to sort of see your work in and be a part of. I've been at a couple of group shows in museums. Just a different level of showing, I think, mainly because of the space and the professional, a little more professional level than being in a gallery. The work that I'm going to have in the show, I'm going to have one larger piece, well, about 30 inches square, and 4 smaller pieces, and they're all based off photos I took in Bakersfield and Taft and Maricopa. And they're based on the architecture and the landscape, and kind of combining shapes of the architecture and the landscape with different types of light and color, but they become abstracted. So I'll focus in on a section of one of the photos I took or part of the landscape, and sometimes combine different sections together. So you recognize it as being a place, and it might even feel somewhat familiar, but it's not a literal, landscape of a very exact place. So it becomes a little more abstracted, a little more not as direct as a traditional landscape. Usually my paintings, the larger ones, take at least a month, sometimes up to 6 months or more, because a lot of times I paint them from real life, or do paintings. Even the very abstract work I do always comes from something, from looking at something. And with the abstract work, I usually start out where I don't necessarily have an exact idea of what I'm going for when I start, but I might be interested in a shape, or with the landscapes, a certain type of look of a location. And I start just with the individual piece of something that I'm interested in, and then I'll keep adding to it as I go along, so it's more of an intuitive process. And those tend to take a lot longer than things that I'm doing just directly from real life, because I don't know what the end product is going to be, so it takes me longer to get it to all form together, usually. Sometimes they come quickly, but usually not. And there's a lot of layers of color. I start off with thin layers of color and build the paint and the color and the shapes as I go. And I use oil paint, so that takes time to dry as well. When I lived in Philadelphia, it was easy in a sense because there are so many artists there, and Philadelphia, for example, is the art scene there. People are actually pretty supportive of one another, and it's pretty open and friendly. So it's really not that hard there. It might be harder in New York or Los Angeles. I'm not really sure, but so it was fairly it was fairly easy there to know a lot of artists and to show in Philadelphia. When I moved out here, like I said, I've only been here for 3 years. In January it was 3 years. And I don't know that it was any harder or easier. To be honest, I really wasn't very aggressive about trying to show my work when I moved here, because I was teaching full-time at BC, and I was really just trying to sort of get grounded and focus on my job. But now that I've started to meet a lot more people in the community, and make more friends, and I found that people in Bakersfield are very open and very friendly and very the artists I've met have been very welcoming and very supportive. So, and actually, Claire Putney, who teaches with me at BC, recommended me for this show. So, usually it's other artist friends who help you out in that way. That's what I found.